Prophecy is unfolding right in front of our eyes, and in this video, we're going to try to connect some of the dots that are out there right now. In this post, it says Polish Prime Minister Donald Tusk says Europe must enter into arms race with Russia and win it. So they're talking about building up their military. But they don't have a military, which is why Zelensky on February 16th here, 2025, says Army of Europe is needed to challenge Russia. And that's what Zelensky said. The reason why this is significant is because this is involving Europe. And Europe is the old Roman Empire. In the old Roman Empire, there was the Western Roman Empire and there's the Eastern Roman Empire. This is a map of what it used to look like. You would see it's in two parts. Now, what's interesting about the Roman Empire is that it was never defeated. It just kind of fell apart. Now, when you look at the map that we just looked at and you compare it to what our world looks like today, this is what you see. This is very, very similar to the old map. Here you see it again. This is today. Very, very similar. But why is the Roman Empire of any importance at all? And why is Europe of any importance at all when you speak about it prophetically? It's a great question. Let's talk about it. In Daniel chapter 2, Daniel is given the interpretation to Nebuchadnezzar, and he says, "You, Nebuchadnezzar, are this head of gold." So the head of gold represents the Babylonian Empire. And then he continues on, he says, "But after you, Nebuchadnezzar, King Nebi, shall arise another kingdom inferior to yours." This kingdom that he's talking about right here, the second kingdom, was the Persian Empire, the Medo-Persian Empire. Then he continues on, he says, "Then another, a third kingdom of bronze, which shall rule over all the earth." So the third kingdom was, Daniel was speaking about Alexander the Great. He was speaking about the Greek army. And then he continues on in verse 40, and it says, "And the fourth kingdom shall be as strong as iron, inasmuch as iron breaks in pieces and shatters everything. And like iron that crushes, that kingdom will break in pieces and crush all the others." So the kingdom that you see here, this fourth kingdom that he is talking about, how it's going to crush all the other ones in pieces, this fourth kingdom is speaking about the Roman Empire. And so when you continue reading in verse 41, it says, "Whereas you saw the feet and toes, partly of potter's clay and partly of iron, the kingdom shall be divided. Yet the strength of the iron shall be in it, just as you saw the iron mixed with ceramic clay." So you see that the fourth kingdom is going to have feet and toes, and it's talked about how it's going to be divided. Now, the reason why this is significant is because Daniel specifically points out the toes, the feet and the toes. And on this image, an image has 10 toes. And so he's pointing out that this image is going to have 10 toes and it's going to be divided. So this division within this fourth kingdom took place, which is when you go back to this image back here, this picture of the Roman Empire, how it was divided. And it wasn't conquered, it just broke apart. And as you continue reading down here in verse 42, and it says, "And as for the toes and feet were partly of iron and partly of clay, the kingdom shall be partly strong and partly fragile." So we just got done reading about the image, and Daniel zoomed in on and started focusing on the 10 toes, which is significant. And because when you attach that idea to what Daniel sees in Daniel chapter 7, the two seem to go together. In Daniel chapter 7, verse 7, he has another vision, and one of the parts of the vision that he sees is all of these beasts coming up out of the sea. And he describes the first beast, the second beast, the third beast. And the first beast speaks of Babylon, the second beast speaks of the Persian Empire, and the third beast speaks of Alexander the Great and the Greek Empire. And so that's the backstory leading up to verse 7. So here in verse 7, he starts talking about the fourth beast, and he describes it, and he's like, "It's terrible, it's exceedingly strong, it had huge iron teeth, it was devouring, breaking in pieces, and trampling the residue with its feet. It was different from all the other beasts that were before it, and it had 10 horns." So what he's describing here in this fourth beast is the Roman Empire. This Roman Empire was unbelievably powerful. But pay attention to what it says here, and it says it had 10 horns. Now, what's interesting about this is that the 10 horns represent 10 kings, and what we're going to see here in a second. Here in Daniel chapter 7, verse 24, it says the 10 horns are 10 kings. So going back to Daniel 7, where it says it had 10 horns. So he's seeing this fourth empire, he's seeing that it has 10 horns, and these 10 horns are representing 10 kings. But as he continued to read in verse 8, it says, I was considering the horns, and there was another horn, a little one, coming up among them, before whom 3 of the first horns were plucked out by the roots. And so basically what this is painting a picture of is that this is telling us that this little horn is going to be somebody, and we know who he is. He's going to be the Antichrist. But this Antichrist is going to rise up among the 10 horns, and he's going to subdue 3 of them. He's going to pluck 3 of them up. He's going to pluck them up. He's going to subdue them. And this is what he is going to do. But these 10 horns are going to be these 10 horns right here are going to be a part of this fourth beast, or this fourth kingdom. And so this kingdom is Rome. And so there's going to be a revived Roman Empire, because the old Roman Empire never had 10 kings. And so this is futuristic. This is why we say the revived Roman Empire. And so while you're reading Daniel chapter 7, you get a little bit of a summary, in a sense, about those 4 beasts that you read about. You read about the 4 beasts in Daniel 7, verse 1 through 8 or so. But what we're told about these great beasts is that in verse 17, it gives us the definition of it. It says, those great beasts which are 4 kings, which arise out of the earth. So these 4 beasts that Daniel is seeing are 4 kings, and if you are a king, you have a kingdom. So these are 4 kingdoms. And so from Daniel's point of view, we are getting the prophetic forecast for the future. Daniel was looking so far into the future, and he was seeing all of the kingdoms that were going to show up, beginning with Nebuchadnezzar, who was there standing right in front of him, and he was giving Nebuchadnezzar all of the forecast, in a sense, the prophetic forecast from his point of view. But let's keep on reading about this 4th beast. It says in Daniel 7:23, it says, the 4th beast shall be a 4th kingdom on the earth, and it shall be different from all other kingdoms, and it shall devour the whole earth. This is interesting how it's saying it's going to devour the whole earth. That is important to pay attention to. It's going to trample it and break it in pieces. And then it goes on to tell you about the 10 kings, and it says the 10 horns are 10 kings who shall arise from this kingdom. So these 10 kings, whoever these 10 kings are that are going to surface at some point, are going to surface from the 4th kingdom. And the 4th kingdom is the Roman Empire, but it's going to be from the revived Roman Empire. So the 10 kings that are going to enter the scene at some point, maybe they're alive right now, they are going to come up from the revived Roman Empire, and that is important to pay attention to. Again, here is the old Roman Empire, and this is the new Roman Empire, which is why it's important to pay attention to what's going on over in the European Union right now, because it seems that somewhere out of here there is going to arise 10 kings who are basically going to set the scene for the first 3.5 years of the tribulation, and then 3 of them are going to get plucked up during the Great Tribulation, which is when the Antichrist is going to reveal himself. Going back to Daniel chapter 7, it says, the 10 horns are 10 kings who shall arise from this kingdom, and another shall arise after them. That another is going to be, it's talking about the Antichrist. It says, he shall be different from the first ones, and shall subdue 3 kings. Then we're given a little description about him, and it says, he shall speak pompous words against the Most High, shall persecute the saints of the Most High, and shall intend to change times and law. It's interesting. Attempting to change times and law is very fascinating when you try to apply that in our world here today in 2025, because people are trying to do that right now, or somebody is trying to do that right now. I have no idea who the Antichrist is, but it's really interesting to see that he is going to go out conquering and to conquer. And if he's doing that, that means he has a resume, meaning he has a whole list of accomplishments, and he's just going to keep adding to those things. And it's really provocative when you pay attention to what's going on in our world right now, because Gaza, it seems like America is going to want to take over Gaza. It seems like America is going to want to take over Canada. And it seems like America is going to want to take over Greenland. So who knows what's going on, but these are all just things to pay attention to. Hope this helps.